is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God!
God, what?
Hey everyone, the USF 2000 is a blast to drive now, and here's your chance to learn it quickly. From my tutorial, VRS created a free bonus track guide for the Laguna Seca circuit, where you can learn exactly what I do in every corner to improve your lap times and get faster on track. You'll learn how to easily recognize brake markers, you'll find out which curves to attack and which ones to avoid, you'll know when to use the full track and when a sequence of corners requires a compromise. And you'll learn how hard to brake and when to lift. The VRS Quick Reference track maps are available free to download and delivered each week to your inbox. The entire global MX-5 series is available, as well as bonus maps like this one and many more. So if you're a new racer, or a veteran, or just anyone who wants to learn how to get faster sooner, the VRS track guides are for you. Just hit the link or button on screen and get yours today.
Just 2 rounds remain in a championship that has been pretty much walking to the sound of the drum beaten by Matt Wood. It has been, by every stretch of the imaginations, an easy ride, some would say, with the dominant performances that we've seen. But there is anything to go about and try and figure out how the final 2 rounds will settle themselves out. They know that every result will still matter, and that every point of protection will be needed. It's your iRacing Grand Prix Series here from a very, very beautiful track. It's the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, and one which is hosted time and time again many different iterations of Formula One Grand Prix, be it the Luxembourg Grand Prix, the German Grand Prix, and the European Grand Prix. This has been a place where great racing has come to life. I'm Jake Sperry, Scott Fountain, along with me for the ride today. And Fonty, you know, we look at this track as 5.15 kilometers, 16 turns, as a place which, by everyone's understanding, is special, does have that understanding, mainly with the Green Hell being next door to what this Grand Prix circuit is. But this is a technical circuit where, if you don't get qualifying right, it becomes exponentially more difficult to go out there and get the result. It certainly is, and qualifying at this point in time is currently getting itself underway. It's cold conditions today, just a very, very hot 19 degrees out there on track, so not much temperature for the tyres to really warm up to. Matt Wood goes fastest on his first lap in qualifying, a 27.326 at this point in time, putting a good time down on the board. But we do expect those times to develop as we go on here. It's a very technical track, and there's a lot of places around the lap, Fonty, where you can really bleed that time. This is really a technical masterpiece, especially with that Mercedes-Benz Arena, which was added in for the mid-2000s. Certainly can do, and it has been seen time and again just how difficult qualifying efforts can be out there on track. Like with Jorge Martinez, for example, just finishing his first lap over and out. That's a 28.3 from him in the number 2, which is only good enough for 8th position. Only 2 drivers out there are starting this on the medium compound tyres in qualifying. You must start the race on the tyre compound that you qualify on. So for Emilio Fernandez and Philip Urquhart, they're both going on the medium compound tyre, which over the course of a 40-lap race today might not be the end of the world if you can push us up to about lap 27. He certainly is, and I tell you what, it's been really impressive. First guy out there in qualifying, his 2 laps done for Leopold Steneros, who has done an incredible job with a 27.808. It's good enough at the moment for 2nd position right now, but a number of drivers still have their 2nd laps that they are trying to complete at this point in time. The likes of Kent Nielsen, the likes of Jorge Martinez, who right now is down in 10th position, rounds the final corner and makes that charge over towards the line. So 27.7, that's a lot better, and that's good enough to jump onto the front row of the grid. So Nielsen, Stratinsky, John Pat Kelly, and Marco Pereira are the only drivers out there at the moment on circuit. The 2 medium runners of Emilio Fernandez and Philip Urquhart, who are expected to go on the mediums, haven't gone out to set any representative times. Kent Nielsen's qualifying challenge then comes to an end, but Jan Stratinsky in the 11, 130.7 right now, is about 3.5 seconds off the pace and would need a little bit more improvement, and a 29.6 is about a second's worth. That's good enough to jump 1 place because John Pat Kelly behind moves into 12th on a 29 flat. I might do Marco Pereira diving into the pit lane. And there goes any opportunity of improvement on that 2nd lap. So everybody's done in qualifying. We can now officially run through the grid, see how everyone will stack up here in this 11th round of 12 with 40 laps coming up in the not too distant future. Matt Wood then, number 1 on the kart, number 1 in the championship, reigning champion, position number 1, pole position, 127.326, dominating qualifying, 0.4 of a second quicker than Jorge Martinez in 2nd place. 2nd row, really interesting. Leopold Steneros and Adam Cohn make up that row, with Dennis Branch starting in 5th and Christoph Montz in 6th position in the number 6 machine. Kent Nielsen will go from 7th with Masafumi Abarame in 8th. Anthony Catt puts the car up in 9th position with Thomas Wieck rounding out the top 10. Stephen Filipovic will go from 11th with John Pat Kelly in 12th place. Then it's Jan Stratinsky 13th, and the slowest time of anyone set was Ben Goyette in 14th position. The 3 who didn't set times will be starting their places based on their iRating. Marco Pereira ahead of Emilio Fernandez and Philip Urquhart, making 17 out there today to get as much as they possibly could moving forward. Now we put ourselves into a 2-minute grid up process. Every driver has the choice to either take to the grid or not. If they don't, they start in pit lane. And of course, the track funnels in towards turn number 1 at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. And that's going to be crucial if you're going to push it 2 wide, maybe 3 wide. You've got to be very alert as the track falls away through that opening section. And a lot of the time, a first lap incident isn't a million miles away, be it at the front, the middle, or the rear of the pack. So you've got to always be alert with such an aggressive turn in towards turn number 1. Advantage for those as well on the odd numbers. The left-hand side of the track, right-hand side, as your screen probably sees it right now, they will get the racing line and a little bit extra rubber to work with on the run in towards turn number 1. So just keep that eye out then as they charge through. But for Matt Wood, he knows that he just wants to put another solid race together in the book. He hasn't had the opportunity to really extend and break away as much as he has done in other races. Onto the grid comes Marquez. That puts all 17 available for us. Let's get the lights on. Let's get the engine notes revving. And let's get ourselves ready for action here from the Nurburgring. And we are underway. Steneros with a horrible start in the second row of the grid. And he'll immediately be swamped as Matt Wood will be unchallenged here in towards turn number 1. Cone diving deep on the brakes as they charge into the opening corner. And everybody making it through in this reduced field. It's split today at 16. 17 and 16. It's okay. Everyone has made it through safely through the arena, and a big lockup in the middle of the pack there. That was Steneros once again, who's now behind Adam Cone, and they've been overtaken by Nielsen and Branch. But a nice clean get-go from pretty much everybody in the field. A bit more too wide as Aberame and Veek decide to fight their way into the middle sector.
Yeah, there we go. Reasonably clean start. A lot cleaner than what we thought there, Sperry. Need to apologise to the viewers today. I didn't have my mic on for the first little bit until now, so my conversation was very limited as well, so they heard anyway. But back to the racing. Kent Nielsen, great start there in P4. He's managed to get past a few cars there, and Matt Woods breaking away early stages in this race. 0.7 of a second separating himself and Marquez.
No DRS here on the first lap. They'll get it on lap 3. Christoph Montz with a great battle right now. Will go 2 wide with Anthony Cap up to the next chicane. And this very, very important chicane here, this NGK, moves up to that Hyundai N curve to finish up the lap. No chance there for Montz to make the move, but the focus is going to be you need to stay in line early at a track like this. You don't want to be pushing the narrative too much. You don't want to be pushing the envelope, because you know around a circuit like this that you are going to bleed time if you spend a lot of it too wide. A bit of side-by-side as wide in the back goes Marco Pereira. That'll allow Ben Goyette to gain a place. And it's seeming like 2 packs are starting to form. Matt Wood's group up to Steneros, and then Thomas Veek and the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A few different group packs starting to form, that's for sure. Fastest there, or closest I should say, is the Anthony Cat Masafumi Aberama battle. Anthony Cat putting a bit of pressure on Masafumi. Jump on board. On a perspective there from Anthony Cat as he charges through these turns. It also looks like Thomas Veek potentially holding up Masafumi here.
Potentially, but it's always very difficult to get yourself into range. This is a high aero dependency circuit, so a lot of drivers will go to a medium or a high downforce setup to get their turn, and if they do, it's going to create more rake, it's going to create more turbulence in the corners and make life just that bit more difficult. So closing up then is Aberame, can't get anything sorted, and checks up the group then as they go through the rights and lefts, or the lefts and rights as it is through the chicane, and sort themselves out onto lap 3. And already Matt Wood out to the tune of 1.5 seconds here in this field. Behind though, looks like Christoph Montz is looking to gear up a move here, trying to get past Anthony Cat, who covers the inside. Best defense is good offense, but Montz sweeping around the outside, not dealing with the track falling away as aggressively on that outside line, and able to put the power down easier on the exit. He takes the place away, but Cat trying to come back here at turn 3 of the arena isn't going to quite get there. So the Chelsea car falls behind.
Yeah, there we go. Chelsea car does fall behind. Looking at that lead driver there of Matt Wood, he is pulling an absolute gap on Jorge Martinez back in second. It's opened up to 1.6 seconds now. But this might be part of the game plan. We saw this happen last weekend, not last round, the round before, where Wood actually was the car in second place and dropped right off. And there was a huge gap between himself and Martinez. And then all of a sudden things changed. So is it going to be the same sort of strategy here for Martinez today?
Well, that'll be the question, won't it? And Martinez here, I think, might just be a bit outmatched by pace, and he'll be looking behind as well, because Dennis Branch and Kent Nielsen, third and fourth, very, very good when it comes to working out what they need to do. They're the quiet drivers who work their way through the field, try and get their one position here or their one position there, and the blue flag racing car in third position is doing a pretty good job of things at this point in time, just keeping it nice and steady, 1.1, 1.2 seconds back at this point in time, not having to really push the boat out, just stay well within a limit as now Aberame gets overtaken by Christophe Mons. So Mons is the driver making moves. He got that done at the chicane, actually, as Aberame just completely stranded through the middle part of the chicane. Found Christophe Mons just effortlessly going by. And look at Mons now. He's trying to attack Thomas Veek here in towards turn number 6 and 5 and 6 out on track, and very nearly got it done. So Christophe Mons absolutely bundles of pace at the moment here today.
Yeah, certainly does have bundles of pace, and that green car looks pretty good out there on track, as we're seeing a move done very well executed there.
Well done. That was at the well done indeed, done at the Dunlop hairpin, and that carousel-esque corner has been so vital to this circuit, and how incredible it has been. Of course, it is run as part of the 24 hours of the Nurburgring, and as well as VLN, which uses the Kazambingdon corner, which just juts away from the Mullenbacher Schleif out there on track. But nice clean battling as they run up towards the big left-right chicane once again. The train goes back here in this group, all the way back to Steven Filipovic there in 11th, who I think is just being quiet. Now, this is where drivers are going to be starting to focus, as here comes Kent Nielsen with a little search down the inside. Very, very wide goes one Mr. Dennis Branch. He goes wide, and that allows 2 wide through turn 2. He gets the advantage of being on the inside. Nielsen trying to go to the outside won't find it to work. But the key here is that drivers want to settle into a rhythm, and sometimes it's not the end of the world just to sit behind a very, very aggressive train.
Yeah, that's right. Look after your own tyres, and if the guys in front of you are fighting, then just look after that rubber and pounce when the opportunity comes hot.
Not only that as well, you can turn up the wick, so to speak, on the fuel mixture if you are looking to try and get as much as you possibly can out of it, if you are being a little bit held up. So that work is doing quite well at the moment. 2 seconds now, the gap at the front, as Dennis Branch maintains third position. It will be interesting as well, though, here, Fonty, to keep an eye out on those 2 medium compound runners. Philip Urquhart moves through on Emilio Fernandez up into 16th place, and they're only about 4 seconds back, 3-4 seconds back of Marco Pereira and Ben Goyette. So they're not falling completely out of contention. The good news for them is when they do have that opportunity to move on to softs, they'll be on the quicker tyre, and they can put in some blistering pace to get by some cars later on in the event.
Yeah, and that's what we absolutely love about the series, and you've got so many different tyre choices to choose from, and yeah, these cars are so wicked to drive. Here we go. Branch is off.
Twice.
All right.
Twice in 2 laps. This time he hits the barriers softly. He'll drop behind Christophe Mons, who will go around the outside and pick off that position. So clearly something really upsetting. And round goes Mons, tapped around by Dennis Branch. So when it rains, it pours for the blue flag racing car. And really just the issue for Dennis Branch is that he has got no reference point, or his reference point is about 15 meters too deep into turn number 1.
Yep, there we go. Bit of a mistake there. It's hard to pull these cars up at the best of times, and well, a lot easier than the likes of a Mazda. Oh, that was a bit of a rough contact there. But yeah, let's see how Dennis Branch gets on for the rest of this one.
Absolutely. It looks like there wasn't too much damaging contact there for Christoph Monz, just to tap into the rear floor there, and the rear tyre was able to keep the car pointed in somewhat of a straight line as they move on up. So that promotes Kent Nielsen up to third, Kohn in fourth, Steneros in fifth position. Dennis Branch now down into sixth as the train really does consume all behind, as Marco Pereira is also through now on Ben Goyette. So another little change of position has also been conducted. Great scrap, though, going on fourth position, but it has been a quiet one between Adam Kohn and Leopold Steneros out there on circuit. Steneros down 2 after an atrocious start. And this is what we see from drivers who we don't traditionally see in this series. This McLaren MP430, for however long it's staying here as the iRacing Grand Prix Series car, is a nightmare to get off the line.
Yes, that's exactly right, Sperry. It is a nightmare to get off the line, and yeah, to get the power down on that thing is a bit of a challenge. The car is a challenge as a whole, really. It's the fastest car pretty much in the game, apart from the IR01, and yeah, you certainly have to put a lot of practice in to be fast in one of these cars.
You certainly do. It's not a case of plug in and play. You've got to be really alert to how the car reacts, and they say iRacing is one of the greatest simulators of all time. This is one of the reasons why, as the battling continues up and down the field. One of the closer battles is a little bit further down the order right now, and it is the ever-continuing charge of Marco Pereira, who's seemingly got his car back underneath him and his understanding of what it does. He's got Jan Stratinsky just in front that he's trying to get to and find an overtake on as soon as possible. Not quite there at the moment, but really, you can see a huge wiggle as he tries to put the power down coming out of the chicane. Really, you have to be gentle with this machine. It will try and bite your head off if you are not too careful and you're trying to be too aggressive and trying to command the car. It needs taming a bit.
It does. You need to be patient with it and be sensible with your throttle application also. Otherwise, you can easily find yourself looking the other way back down the track, especially on some of these slower corners or off-cambered corners.
Absolutely, I've done that many a time myself, and it's not the easiest car in the world to go out there and drive. 3-car pack continues behind Thomas Wieck, with Aberame and Kat dealing with their races at this point in time, but a lot of 2-car groups, top 3, starting to spread themselves out a little bit, and Wieck almost getting overtaken down at the hairpin as Masafumi Aberame, car number 3, indicates he's got the 3rd highest I rating in the field, starts to have a little prod and a poke around as he tries to find a pass in the TC Corsa car.
Yeah, there we go, getting quite racy there is that car, and yeah, Kent Nielsen doing a fantastic job up there in P3. Bit of a lone race for him at this stage, but
having a look.
Yeah.
Very nearly found a way through that, but backed out of it, knowing that Aberame wasn't really going to give that one up, and definitely not easily either, you may add, on top of that as well. So that will always be a focus. Now we're heading to lap 9 here of our 40-lap race, or almost 1/4 of the way through here. It's going to be interesting to see how lap times have evolved, and really for the leaders, it's only been about 4/10 drop from fastest lap to current lap at this point in time. So we're not really seeing that tyre drop off, we would say, for example, Fonty, in a lot hotter conditions than we are here on the west side of Germany.
yeah, that's exactly right. Beautiful place is Germany. Me and you have, this is where we first met in real life, wasn't it, Sperry, at the Sim Racing Expo a few years back, and yeah, wonderful, wonderful circuit that it is.
Absolutely, that would have been about 3 years back now, in terms of when we first met, which shows you just how much time flies. But the opportunity here for drivers to understand what makes this track so special is in front of them, as they really have to battle to make all of these interesting little miniature scraps work into their advantage. They know that one small mistake in a series like this does have long-lasting consequences, and it is now about when you manage the right time to come in. I'm pretty sure soft is the right call of the day today here, Fonty, and if you can make it to lap 20, the life becomes a whole lot easier. I'd say even if you make it to about lap 18 out there, soft should be the way forward if you want to try and make sure you can get yourself home and dry, as Marco Pereira has gone around out to the final corner.
There we go. Go back and have a look at that. See what has happened here.
Just a pure snap. He goes to put the power down, the back's not settled, and pretty sure it's an exact 180. Tries to J-turn his way back around, and he does so to the tune of falling back to dead last.
Again, we'll just go back and fix that. Not sure what happened there. Sorry, guys.
So drama's unfolding in every single sense of the word out there on track, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out on the replay exactly how that all came to troubles. Meanwhile, as the race continues, Vic and Aberame continue to have their race, as too will the likes of Adam Cohn and Leopold Steneros out there, who are in 4th and 5th. So definitely not done yet, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a case where we're going to see drivers maybe even thinking about an undercut here, Fonty.
Yeah, potentially. Definitely what we could see. Yeah, here we go. We've got battles on just up further. P4, P5. These guys are certainly getting amongst it here.
And that is an overtake there. So Adam Cohn just pushing slightly too deep into the chicane, opens the door up for Leopold Steneros to dive through on the inside, moves through the long right hairpin there of the Hyundai N-Curve, and gets the move sorted even on the run to turn 1. So that puts Steneros up into 4th, and that sort of mistake as well. You look behind, Dennis Branch, in terms of the times he's been doing, last lap against Steneros, he was up 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's getting pretty racy. Looking at this battle back here, Masafumi Aberame and Jan Stratinsky. Jan not really having the pace the last few rounds that we've been at.
Aberame's gone around. Aberame's gone around, and it was at turn 2 as he was still chasing Thomas Viek. So Stratinsky not with pace, and Aberame's just pushed the car in too deep, Fonzie. He's just lost the back end in the mid part of the corner, just trying to get as much pace as he can out of the car, and the car's just turned around and said, no, you're going around.
All right, let's have a quick look here at what has happened. Oh, big lose. Big lose.
Absolutely. It's a huge loss, and, you know, that's the sort of thing that you'd look at this circuit about 15, 20 years ago. You wouldn't be able to get away with that. You'd be deposited into a gravel track because of the Herman Tilke designs and the improvements of safety, able to continue on that race with 0 damage.
Yep, there you go. Gotta love all the runoff areas. And this man will be hoping that the driver in front of him makes his way to a runoff area.
Dennis Branch very nearly finding a move on Adam Cohn into turn number 1, as he's brought Christoph Montz along with him, as they look to try and find those moves. But Cohn here, every right to defend the position in the Leighton House-inspired livery. Dennis Branch at this moment is just trying to search every which way to find a move, and he couldn't quite get it done at turn 1, almost a bit of contact.
Yeah, there we go. Fantastic battles throughout the field here. Really blown away at that gap that Matt Wood has managed to pull out. 3.5 seconds separating himself and Jorge Martinez and Kent Nielsen back there in 3rd. Good pace here for Kent so far. He's got to be happy with this. Just don't speak too soon, Scott. Don't put the commentator's curse on him, because I don't think I've seen Kent Nielsen finish inside the top 3 for a very long time.
For a long time. It's been, I think, about 2 seasons now at this point since Kent Nielsen's put himself on the podium. He's got about 4 seconds here to Steneros, and Branch down the inside of Adam Cohn again. This time at the chicane, they leave each other a lot of room here, but I tell you what, Cohn looks really good on the uptake of the acceleration, and Branch having to look around the outside, just found himself a little bit in no man's land. He'll get the DRS, I think, on this front stretch. We'll look to the outside to try and get it done. Montz is a really good run also, if they're running towards turn number 1. Branch trying to take the outside line. He loves that outside line, and it is going to work for him. And Adam Cohn here has to get into line quickly. Otherwise, he's opening the door to Christoph Mons. And Branch goes around in front of both of them. Branch goes off. Cohn avoids everything. And Mons gains 2 places. Branch around again.
Let's go back and have a look on that on a replay there, Sperry, because, yeah, he would not be happy with himself for that, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. He did all the hard work. He got himself the place, and then by the time that he'd had that all perfectly sorted, he tries to put the power down, and the back just steps away on the rears. And this track is known for being a little bit more difficult on rear tyres than they would do at potentially other circuits on the calendar.
Yeah, he was quite lucky there not to go into the wall or collect another car.
I certainly agree with you that. It is always going to be for Dennis Branch an awkward time when you have to deal with the battles. I'll tell you what, Anthony Catt in a really good race as well. He's got Thomas Veek for a little bit of company as well. So this is going to be another little battle that we see here on lap 13. Still haven't seen many, if any, takers coming down into the pits. So we're still thinking that maybe we might see 1 or 2 here and there. At least considering the option to dive in and make a stop, but a lot of drivers thinking that staying out right now, probably best policy as they run towards turn number 1 in the fight for what is now 6th, 7th and 8th place.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Jan Susinski going side by side with Masafumi Aberame, and he is going to go through on that one. From Pat Kelly, next car up the road for on here in front of us. 2.9 seconds separating Aberame and John Pat Kelly.
We know Masafumi's got the pace. It's just going to be a case of how long it's going to take and will it be done in the stops. It is also worth noting out here that Matt Wood and Jorge Martinez have had their gap stabilised. It's 3.4 seconds at this point in time. And those two racing in stasis. Martinez just keeping pressure on, but nowhere near, we would say here, Fonzie, in a position to make anything happen at this point in time. Cohn again having to look backwards in the mirrors here as he deals with Veek and Kat, who both want to get through.
Yeah, you can really see some of these drivers starting to struggle with tyre life now. Yeah, pace is really starting to drop off. Guys who are quick in the initial stages of the race, certainly starting to drop off. We've got a gap closing slightly between Martinez and Wood. That is down to 3.2 seconds.
Certainly is, and it is worth noting as well that Kent Nielsen, about 2 laps ago, made a little mistake into turn number 1, and that brought the gap back down to Leopold Steneros to about 1.7 seconds as Veek goes through. Kat goes through Cohn as well, who is really, really struggling out there at this point in time. And it is very much a case of what can you do. Dennis Branch, by the way, has dived in and has taken his pit stop early here on lap 15. So he's the first taker. He moves on to the mediums, and he's got to try and do something to get himself back up the order, and he feels like this is it. And I tell you what, Adam Cohn is in a world of trouble because he runs wide again, loses out the place to Steven Filipovic. I think he's burnt through his tyres already, Fonzie.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Look at that pace really drop off. Not a good way at all, is he?
No, it's almost might be a case where he's popped a tyre or something because he is really, really struggling here to just keep up that same pace. He's really trying to fight through every corner, and it is basically death by paper cut at this point. I would expect to see Adam Cohn dive into the pits, maybe move on to a set of the medium compound tyre here at the end of lap 15. So we'll see whether that Leighton House-inspired liveried McLaren is going to dive in, and surprisingly not staying out then. So this is just going to be lap upon lap of trouble as Anthony Cat here gets another lined up attempt on Thomas Veek, now for 6th position here. Sends one to the inside, tries to funnel it in. Veek will try and come up and under here in the Mercedes-inspired livery. Goes around the outside. That's to do it again, though, here at turn 3. Can get it done at 3. He'll hold the inside for 4, which is the most important point on circuit. But round the outside, Anthony Cat struggling on that AstroTurf, and Veek is just about going to get himself through and maintain the position for now.
Yeah, this is bringing Steven Filipovic back into the mix here, and he's hoping for these guys to have a tangle up together so he can slot on past. But yeah, certainly starting to see a lot of cars struggling with tyres out there on track now, and yeah, we're going to see the pit lane light up very soon, I reckon.
Another driver struggling right now is Leopold Steneros in 4th position. Christoph Mons is over him like a rash. He's dropped 3.4 seconds on this lap. His tyres look like they've hit the cliff. And here comes Mons to the inside. DRS here on the run-up, of course, in towards the chicane. And he'll get through without any argy-bargy at all. Front 3 have all stayed out for another lap. In comes Leopold Steneros. Then no surprises, his tyres just about had it.
Yeah, these boys here, a little bit of contact. Anthony Cat, Thomas Veek, a slight bit of contact. I'm wondering if Veek had some left front damage from that. This is a great battle here. Who has got the biggest set of brakes? Looking like Thomas Veek has the biggest set of brakes at the moment. Here we go, pit lane's lit up. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
It certainly has. So Steneros and Cone both in. Aberame also dives into the pits, but the battle there was Veek versus Cat. Cat ultimately in that fight there found himself effectively blocked past into turn number 1. Nowhere to go. Filipovic couldn't really pounce on top of it and make that happen. So it's a case of, once again, you're going to have to wait for it a little bit longer. But if there's any time, start thinking about where you're going to dive in and get this race going, it's now. It's worth noting as well that Steneros has come out right in front of Dennis Branch.
Yep, he certainly has come out right in front of Branch, and yeah, Branch will want to use those tyres to his advantage. He has gone for the soft medium strategy there.
Very much has, and we know he needed to commit to that. In from 3rd position, though, comes Kent Nielsen here at the end of lap 17. It'll be interesting to see which way he goes from now to the end. Mons staying out, as to his Veek, but in comes Anthony Cat, looking like he's being a little bit held up right now. He'll decide he'll also come in and make his stop, and it's a long, long way to the line as well. The yellow commitment cone, it's only a stone's throw, really, I think is the right way to say it, Fonty, from that start-finish line.
Yeah, it's not too far, really. Yeah, these cars are so hard going down the pit lane, and it doesn't matter what class you're in. At least you've only got a 3-second stop for one of these things, but it is really painful when you're having to trundle your way down the pit lane and you've got the rest of your competition flying by, and you're just wanting your pit crew to hurry up and be as fast as they can and get you out there with a new set of rubber.
And Marco Pereira right now being a little bit of a thorn in Steneros' side as the pits cycle pretty much comes and goes again. As ahead of everyone then will be Kent Nielsen in regards to this fight. So getting a little bit chipper out there at the moment as the different strategies now bring themselves into play, leading to, again, staying out. That gap about 3.2 seconds at the moment at the front of the field, as once again those two prove to be the class of the yes, I would say the class of the class at this point in time. It looks like they have been straight A students as they drive, as Pereira goes side by side up to the Schumacher S for Leopold Steneros. Now he'll have to look behind him going to Ravenel, because Dennis Branch will pivot his way to the inside, trying to steal this one away from the Scandinavian, and gets it done.
Yeah, there we go. Fantastic move there. Well executed. A couple more drivers going into the pit lane here. We got Christoph Montz. He's in the lane, trundling his way down there. Fastest pit stop out of everyone has been Dennis Branch so far with a 3.8 second. No, I stand corrected. Masafumi Aberame has been the fastest with a 3.7 second stop.
Yep, he certainly has. So he got it lined up pretty good in the pits. He's driving about a little bit on his own right now. Mons is going to come out well behind everyone, though, as Anthony Cat will go through now, taking advantage of his softs, gets the undercut then on Christoph Mons, who's got a lot of work to do then when it comes to this second stint if he wants to get back to where he was in terms of his fight. So yet to pit, Wood, Martinez, Veek, Lipovic, John Pat Kelly, Stratinsky, and then you look at Urquhart, of course, Pereira, and then Emilio Fernandez, all yet to come in and make a stop. In comes the leader, though, as Matt Wood decides 19 laps on the tyres is enough. He will now bring himself to the end and not risk anything, looking to undercut Martinez from behind.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad strategy call there for our leader, Matt Wood. Very good driver, absolute legend, one of these cars.
And joining Matt Wood will be Thomas Veek and Stephen Filipovic, so they'll both decide that they want lap 19 to be the time that they dive in together and get as much of a run as they possibly can. And you can really see it as drivers tiptoe their way onto the lane. All you've got separating yourself from disaster is that little bit of Armco there as you look to try and make that run towards your pit box. So you've got to be absolutely on it, and it looks like Filipovic here has got himself off and away. I thought he missed his box ever so slightly, but he's okay. He'll get himself off and away. Branch will go through, so too Steneros, and he got Cat and Mons, and then the likes of Veek and Filipovic, well, they're going to join just on the end of that with Emilio Fernandez just getting ahead of Filipovic, which will be a disaster.
Oh, fantastic racing here at the Nurburgring. So, yeah, as we said before, wonderful circuit, pretty demanding on drivers, demanding on tyres, that is for sure. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the strategy call is that Jorge Martinez will make. Will he go for the soft, as he's just coming into the lane now?
Should do. And as he comes in, he's done very well. There has been a pass, Philip Urquhart being overtaken then by Dennis Branch, and that is the last crucial key in the puzzle for Branch to recover his way back through the field. He would put himself net fourth as things go. Martinez only now hits his box. He goes up, he goes down. There goes Matt Wood, he's gone. And now for Martinez, he knows this race is all about, can I do enough? Can I find something in this track which gives me an extra couple of tenths of a second? He's one of the best tyre savers in the world, is Jorge Martinez, when he gets right down to it. So he'll be hoping that Matt Wood chews up some tyre and he can really attack back late on. In the pits as well is John Pat Kelly getting his stop sorted, which will mean that everybody in the field, aside from the medium compound runners, would have come in and made their stop at certain points in this race. And John Pat Kelly here is going to come out and away ahead of Adam Cohn, who just finally gets the pass on Emilio Fernandez. It looks like Urquhart's been in trouble on this lap, as he actually had himself a spin.
Yeah, he did, yep. Just got it on the VRS replay there. Go back and take an onboard from that one, I think, and see what's exactly going on.
Looks to me like he panicked himself into the corner. That's my understanding of it, because it's so late in the braking phase that the car decides to snap and go around. He's good, he's good, he's good. And just as he's about to turn in, I believe, Fonty, he locks up the rear axle. And at that point, you're just a passenger when you've got two tyres in the back that don't want to effectively go in a straight line.
Yeah, well, exactly right. It's like ice skating on the floor.
Absolutely, and that can always be trouble out there. Back, though, as we go forward, Anthony Cat now has his eyes on the 13 of Leopold Steneros at this point in time, looking towards the inside with the DRS up the hill into the braking zone. He can brake slightly later and gets it done. Beautiful pass, and Christoph Mons will be next. And now here's something that's going to be interesting here for Steneros. He's on the medium, everyone around him pretty much on a soft tyre at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's pretty hard to be able to hold those guys off. Oh, we're going to see a move here. Christoph Mons is going to fire it up there. Oh, nearly contact. This is going to get the inside line.
Tell you what,
going to have another dive. Oh,
not going to get there yet, though. That's the key. That's the key there that we see. Steneros was trying very much so just to hold his line. Knows when he's beaten when it comes to these fights. But for Veek, for Filipovic as well, who want to get onto the back of this, it's a case where Steneros is just doing enough. He pushed it a little bit wide, though, coming out there of turn number 6 and through to the inside at the Dunlop hairpin. Goes Christoph Mons, hugs the curb nicely, and gets the move done without any troubles at all. And that is just pick up through the corners and understeer that will go along, having effectively less rubber to go and work with that will be deposited on the track. You can't lean on the sidewall as much, Fonty, and as such, that's why different tyre compounds can be a little bit more frustrating when it comes to grip.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sperry, exactly right. And that gap out there for the lead of this race, 4.1 seconds between Wood and Martinez. Ken Nielsen didn't quite have the pace today to be able to hang with these front two, but still doing a fantastic job there in third place, driving a little bit of a lone race. It's Dennis Branch and Anthony Catt. Christoph Montz, which we just saw that battle, and it looks like Thomas Week is going to be put under a bit of pressure in a moment here as well.
Well, it's more rather he's just made the move there on Leopold Steneros, so he's got that one sorted quite nicely. And I tell you what, Dennis Branch isn't necessarily safe either, because Anthony Catt here, 0.6 of a second quicker on that last lap. It's clear that the soft working a lot better right now than the medium compound tyres. Emilio Fernandez doing a 1:55 on that last lap. I believe he came down and actually made his stop on lap 22, and he very much did. So Emilio Fernandez able to go 22 laps on the mediums, will now look to go 18 more laps on another set of mediums, which is not the ideal strategy, which now means that it will be down to Philip Urquhart. But at this point, you'd say for Urquhart, he's racing against Emilio Fernandez, maybe Ben Goyet, maybe Marco Pereira in the final stages of this race.
There we go. Absolutely fantastic stuff here. And yeah, plenty of battles. I thought we might have seen a few bigger incidents with cars coming together today, to be honest, Barry, but everyone's been keeping it pretty clean on track. Looking at that time right out front, All Game Martinez has, he's 0.3 of a second a lap faster that last time by.
It certainly was. It was a 30 flat from Matt Wood that last go around. Martinez a 29.7, looking a bit better. All over the back now of Dennis Branch is Anthony Catt. The fight for 4th position still going on. You've got Christoph Montz there as well, wanting to get in on the action. So the charge is very much here on lap 24 of 40, moving through the lefts and the rights here of this Mullenbacher section of circuit, the very, very tip of the track as you dive on forward. And now here comes the little battle as they move into the hairpin. Branch is just so accomplished at keeping the car pointed at this point in time. If you're going to get by him, you're going to have to earn it against the Blue Flag Racing car, who's been driving this sort of machine pretty much since it came out. So if you've got someone with as much experience as he does at this point in time, it'll be a very tough job to go and find someone better in terms of driving this car consistently.
Yeah, that is exactly right, Sperry, and yeah, it takes a lot of practice in one of these to be fast. I've never managed to be fast, and we're going to see the move. Well done there. Well done there.
Oh, Montz got such a good run off of the exit of the chicane. He nearly rear-ended Dennis Branch in what you would call a little bit of comeuppance after their contact that they had in the opening stint of the race. Here comes another look then, trying to get this sorted. Moves to the inside, does Montz. Branch is going to absolutely fire it into the corner, trying to get some run off of the exit, but he can't get the car turned in because he was still in the braking phase. Christoph Montz just sidles on by without any worries at all.
Yep, certainly did. That gap at the front is closing at a great rate of knots too, Sperry. 29.4, fastest lap of the race there for Jorge Martinez. He's got a late call to push on here, and he's really going to make use of these soft tyres that he's got on. I don't think Matt Wood made a mistake. I think it is just the pure pace of Jorge Martinez chasing him down. Let's hope this is a exciting finish between these two.
I certainly agree. Matt Wood is certainly driving well within his pace. Remember, Martinez has 1 lap fresher tyres than Matt Wood as well, who does another 29.8 as he crosses. And that is a 29.2 from Jorge Martinez. 0.6 of a second off the clock. Gap comes down to 3 seconds. And we were thinking early on, with 4 tenths in qualifying, with it being a case of about 3.5 seconds built over the opening stint, that Marquez was pretty much settling for second. He wants that win, but the question's going to be, how much life is he taking out of the tyres, pulling gaps back by 6/10 of a second?
Yeah, that is a good point there. It's a very, very good point indeed. He's, well, we know how good he is at tyre life, so maybe this is his game plan, and, you know, he thinks that Matt will potentially drop off even further than what he will.
That definitely is a potential, and I tell you what is interesting about this race right now is that you can split 4th to 11th place right now by about 8 seconds on the road, and that is Anthony Cat all the way back to Adam Cohn in 11th position, which just shows you how close the midfield has really been today. Everyone is well within a range right now to go out there to attack, to try and get as much as they can out of the final stages of this race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They certainly are. Closest battle on track that is on screen at the moment. Christopher Mont, Anthony Cat. There's some decent pace to Mont's last lap by 0.3 of a second faster than Anthony Cat, and Anthony Cat's tyres are 1 lap older than what Christophe Mont's, I should say.
Yep, Christoph's been doing a good job just keeping Anthony Cat in check there in 4th position. Highest we've seen Anthony Cat actually all season long in P number 4. He's been a perennial mid-pack driver over the course of the series, and when he does go on the conventional strategy, he is someone who definitely turns up on the day and gives pretty much everybody a run for their money. So someone who could be an eye out on in the future. On the brakes and in towards the right then of turn 1 once again, just holding off the train. The train very stagnant, you'd say as well at this point in time. This is what you'd call a traditional DRS train. Everyone split pretty much equidistantly, not really gaining a benefit from everyone else having the same benefit.
Yeah, that is, good call there, Sperry. It's just kind of cruising around on track, waiting for the guy in front to make a mistake. This is still the closest battle that we have on track. The next one, closest battle that we have on track, is this man here, Steven Filipovic. He is 0.9 of a second behind Leopold Daneros.
Yeah, Leopold Daneros there doing a pretty good job at the moment, just holding on in 8th position. Filipovic has just been sitting and waiting all race, really hasn't struck, hasn't done anything too untoward, and a little bit of issue for Matt Wood as he goes through turn 1. He had to deal with Philip Urquhart, who'd just come out of the pits after making his stop, so that would have been a cause for concern on the get-go, but it does mean that Marquez now is going to have something to latch onto a little bit more easily than Matt Wood.
Yeah, let's go back and have a look on this replay here. Here we go. It's just coming out of pit lane. Oh, what a tough spot to catch a lapped car there for the race leader.
Absolutely, and we are going to start hitting now that lapping process in this race, and the key's going to be, for someone like Matt Wood, how easily do you make it through these lap battles? Everyone knows they want to stay on the lead lap the best they possibly can, and they will obey blue flags, which are advisory here in iRacing and not mandatory as they would be, for example, in an FIA-sanctioned event. So the focus is going to be clear. You have got to do the work. You have got to get through as quickly as you possibly can. Matt Wood trying to get something working at this point in time because he knows that he's got to build gap now while Urquhart is still in front of Marquez.
Yeah, well, the gap between Jorge Marquez and Wood now is down to... Oh, there we go. He's letting him go. Letting him go. So it's under 2 seconds now. Marquez to Wood. That might have been the race... the ending result that Marquez would have wanted, because this could have given him an opportunity to really give Matt Wood a chance, a run for his money on this one.
0.8 of a second and had DRS on the front stretch, so everything you want for Jorge Marquez, everything you didn't want if you're car number 1, Matt Wood, who does have that cadence, does have that ability to go, but a 30.3 after having to alter his line at turn number 1. Definitely not the plan here in terms of this one. In terms of big movers, though, in the field, we haven't really seen too many. Anthony Catt, probably the biggest mover of them all, up 5 places today from 9th up to 4th position, but a number of losers in this field. Down 5, Leopold Steneros, down 7 today for Adam Coe.
Yeah, you're right. Some weeks you're going to get it, some weeks you won't, but you're going here to go racing and have fun doing it, and that's what we're doing here today.
We certainly are. There'll be 11 laps to go when Matt Wood crosses the line as Martinez again looks to give chase. At this moment, it looks pretty cut and dry for 3rd place for Kent Nielsen. 11 seconds down the road from Anthony Catt, who's just keeping Christoph Montz at bay at this moment. Maybe Filipovic is starting to just angle himself a little bit closer to Steneros right now in the number 13 machine. So looks like everyone's just trying to get themselves into the right place to attack and give themselves exactly what they need on what has been, by every measure and metric, a cold circuit here today. So it has been a tough challenge to get everything sorted out, but really here, Fonty, it has been a pretty solid affair, all things considered.
Yeah, it has been, yeah. Quite clean, consistent driving between these guys. Not any massive accidents. A few guys outbraking themselves and setting it off the track. But yeah, so certainly no big contact, which we like to see.
We certainly do. Filipovic looking close, and that was very much a case of, well, how far can you go? Steneros just holding it off enough at this point in time. And give credit, actually, as well to Dennis Branch. He's been doing really well on those mediums to hold off Thomas Wieck on the soft.
Yeah, certainly has. He's been doing a fantastic job at holding off that car there behind. And, yeah, just looking at this battle, yeah, Christoph Montz, Dennis Branch. Yeah, he's a little bit further back. Christoph Montz, so, yeah, looking pretty racy at this stage, punching out pretty good lap times. 0.6 of a second slower that last time by. Faster than Kent Nielsen, though. So Kent Nielsen's tyres potentially on their way out.
Potentially, but Kent Nielsen is just trying to keep his own race together at this point in time, and I think he's doing a really good job of it. What is really interesting to see right now, though, is at the front, because Matt Wood has just done a 29.3 followed by 29.2, and Martinez exactly the same. So Matt Wood has suddenly turned up the wick. He can't sit back and relax any longer. He knows he's got to put some great laps in, and this is where you test the mettle of a driver, Fonty. If you are 2 seconds back, any one mistake gives you an opportunity to strike. This is where, effectively, you make your money in sim racing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You've got to be clean and consistent. And, yeah, these guys who are at the top of the game, they put in a lot of hours, a lot of time behind that seat to make sure they are the fastest and really understand that motor vehicle that they are driving on track. And, yeah, as we say many, many times, Barry, mastering one of these is not an easy task. And this man here on screen, Kent Nielsen, he's been around for a long time, massive supporter of the open wheel community, which organised these guys to come and have a broadcast each week. And well done to Kent Nielsen for all his efforts and that for the community.
Leopold Steneros has lost the place to Stephen Filipovic, who made a fantastic lunge down at turn number 1, took the position away and moved up another one. Gap remains at 2.1 seconds still as Martinez, for the first time in a little while, drops to a 29.6. It's the first time really in this stint since his second laps that he was really struggling to get everything all turned in nice and neatly as he has been over the course of the way he's been running. So it looks like that's going to be something. Matt Wood's got a really awkward position, though, in front of him right now. He's got a great battle going on. Emilio Fernandez versus Ben Goyette. Goyette's on the mediums. Fernandez is on the softs. And, sorry, he's also on the medium, sorry, but they're new! And into the wall goes Emilio Fernandez and very nearly runs into Matt Wood. They both had to avoid him there. Emilio Fernandez is out. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. The way that fortune works in a series like this. Matt Wood has survived one there after Emilio Fernandez bounced back onto the circuit there after a very, very hit coming out of the Ravenel turn. Drama of the highest caliber then as they went through, and ultimately Matt Wood still holds a 1.9 second margin. He was more taken out of that than Martinez was over the course of the run, and now again he'll have traffic to catch at a very not brilliant time, Fonty.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I was a bit held up there to catch that exactly, but we're going to see what's happened here. A bit further back.
Big dramas then going on. Emilio Fernandez out of the race now, was fighting hard for it, just pushed it a little bit too hard, and whoops, there it went, is effectively the way it goes. But now it's about the mid-pack battles as well, because Dennis Branch has suddenly been reeled in now by Thomas Wieck, who can't really put the power down out of turn one here, Fonty, so he's trying to get himself up into 6th position. He's just got to keep himself in range.
Yeah, there we go. He certainly does have to keep himself in range, and this man here, Jorge Martinez, is keeping himself in range here. 2 seconds now, so 7 laps to go in this race. I think with the pace that he's got, 0.2 of a second faster, obviously. Matt Wood having that little bit of a check up there on that previous lap. So, yeah, could still be on for the race win, but I think it's going to be hard for Martinez to catch him at this point. Christopher Montz, however, he is looking pretty racy as well. Slightly faster than the car in front of him, Anthony Catt.
But again, it looks like Anthony Catt is just doing enough to stave off the challenge. You've got to make sure that you're covering yourself up at every given moment, and Catt's just that little bit more accomplished through the corners here. He's just hitting his lines absolutely faultlessly every time, and that's what's giving him pretty much every reason to go out there, to be happy with the attacks, and why you're not seeing too much of a catch-up going on at this moment. So it is all focus, all hands on deck at this point in time to make sure that you're fighting for those extra little positions here and there as they go into turn number 1. Again, Dennis Branch looking behind in the mirrors here at what has been a very hit-or-miss corner for him.
Yes, it certainly has been not his most favourite corner on the track, that's for sure. Adam Cohn, he's back here behind John Pat Kelly. He's in 11th position. Started in 4th, so not a great result for him at all. He's will be wanting this one to be over and look forward to the next round.
Yeah, and it would be the final round next week where we will be concluding this championship. But again, it's about focus. It's about what can you do in the final stages here, and 2.1 seconds now the gap. I think Matt Wood's done the difficult part. Martinez did respond, but not enough here in comparison to what Matt Wood has done. I think he's just staved off most of the challenge. We've got ourselves 5 to go next time we cross the line, and it will be now maybe a case of fighting for 4th, fighting for 6th. And I tell you what, John Pat Kelly again having another just quiet drive, 12th to 10th, up 2 spots. It's nothing really too dramatic about it. He's just got on with his race and done what he's needed to, and he's gained a couple places for it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's kept it out of trouble, which is what you want to do. That's always my name of the game whenever I go iRacing. Never going to be quite the fastest on track, but if you stay out of trouble, generally you can find yourself making your way up the order.
And Branch for the first time goes defensive. Here comes Wieck searching around the outside. He's not going to get there, but he's got a great up and under. There he goes.
Whoa.
There goes Thomas Wieck. Rounded.
Oh.
That will be big avoidance there for Filipovic. That will allow to the inside. Then Steneros back into the fight. And almost contact as well for Adam Cohn. 5 places lost on the space of 1 spin.
There we go. Can happen so easily. All done all on his own. Those tyres, 15 laps old. I think they're not quite in brand new condition anymore, Sperry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Filipovic said it actually the best. He's glad he wore his brown race suit to this event today. So he's done a very good job of avoiding that one. Mark my words on it. It was very important moment of the race for pretty much everyone to get themselves away. So it will promote now up. Filipovic up now into what is 7th position. Staneros now into 8th. John Pat Kelly to 9th. Adam Cohn to 10th. And Thomas Wieck now will drop back into 11th position. The battle is still on between Cat and Mons for 4th and 5th, but Mons has just been caught at that range where that dirty air effect really hits hard. If you can get yourself within 4/10 of a second, does get a little bit easier.
Yep, certainly does. One person who I think is going to run away with this one is Matt Wood. 2.6 second gap between himself and Jorge Martinez now. That push we saw for Martinez, I think it was a little bit too tough on his tyres, and he's really struggling for pace now.
It was a valiant effort, at least at this point. There is still traffic in front, though, which could cause Matt Wood a little bit of trouble. But as he hits the brakes and goes into that left-right of the Vidal chicane, he will mastermind his way up over that left-hand side curb and into the Hyundai N curve to end the lap and go on to lap 37. Traffic getting well out of the way. Going to be no help. Martinez does respond, though. Finds 4/10 of a second, brings the gap back to 2.1. So it's still not out of the woods yet. Matt Wood's still got to execute the rest of this race, which is always going to be a very difficult challenge in the latter stages. So too will Thomas Wieck, who will be trying to chase his way back through against Adam Cohn right now in the fight for the top 10.
Yeah, certainly is the case. Adam Cohn doing a decent job out there on track inside the top 10. He Thomas Wieck all over the back of him. He's looking like he's going to make a move. Not quite yet though. Next straight. Oh, he's really wanting to get this done quickly, isn't he?
Certainly is. It's softs versus mediums, which will be one of the reasons why. Here comes Mons down to the inside, trying to pick up 4th place, and does so. Anthony Cat with nothing to argue with, 4 laps from home. Christoph Mons, who had been sitting so patiently on the back of Anthony Cat, strikes with not long to go.
Here we go, seeing it on replay here. Nice move up the inside, committed, well executed, and did that one nicely. Good job.
Yeah, that's a fantastic pass, and one that will give 4th place, which is a lot here in terms of what these drivers race for in this series, because it's not just the fact they're racing for the glory of victory here, Fonty. There's iRacing and safety rating on the line.
Yeah, that's certainly right. iRating, safety rating, big part of iRacing, especially for the official stuff. Not so much for the hosted side of iRacing, but yeah, the higher your iRating, generally, you know, the more respect that you get within the community.
Absolutely. 3 laps to go then here at the Nurburgring. The gap remains 2.1 seconds between Matt Wood and Jorge Martinez. It will take one small mistake to unsettle this race and effectively determine it. No mistakes means Matt Wood effectively has a win by a large amount. And I am starting to see now Anthony Cat really struggling after that lap where he's just been overtaken. And that's bringing Dennis Branch back in. Branch may not be out of a top 5 here as the mediums are starting to come back into play. How the softs really do start to hit a cliff. Also behind, here comes Thomas Wieck with a little think of the inside. Adam Cohn's medium compound tyres saying absolutely no, we are not getting through. That New Zealander wants to keep a top 10. Still, 2 and a bit laps to go. And Dennis Branch is all over the back now of Anthony Cat in the fight that is going on here for 5th and 6th positions here in this race. But the leaders, they now cross with 2 laps to go. And it does show you how dominant Fonty they have been today. When you consider that the top 2 right now, 1.7 seconds between them, have 37 seconds of a margin to Kent Nielsen in 3rd.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sorry, Sperry, I had my mic on mute there for a moment. And but yeah, back to the racing here. Yes, fantastic racing there from Matt Wood and Martinez. He is going to run out of time. Not going to have enough time to close that 1.7 second gap. Dennis Branch, however, he is looking extremely racy. Look at the lap time difference between himself and Anthony Cat. That last lap by 1:30.9 for Dennis Branch. And Anthony
34.
Cat, 32.4. So he's struggling for pace. What's he going to do as he comes across the line there? 31.5. So maybe being held up a little bit is now Dennis Branch.
God, again, he pushes hard into the corner. He's got about 2 laps to try and figure the move out, and it's certainly not done behind as well. Cohn and Veek again getting close as they go through turn number 2, and again, it's a case of Cohn just holding on. And you've got the 3-car scrap as well, Fonty. Filipovic, Staneros, and John Pat Kelly. They're still figuring out whether they can fight for positions.
Yep, they certainly are. They are trying to figure that out. Yeah, get inside their top 10. Beak really wants that top 10. Be great for his iRacing.
Here's the run. Going to move over to the inside then as we start the final lap of the race. Cohn holding the outside line, and he can't put the power down as early as he'd like. They're going side by side to the Schumacher S. That's a 1-line corner, and that's proven there by Thomas Veek, who had to really lift out then. They make that run up towards Ravenel here as they search through. Again, it is Adam Cohn just holding it off. Gap for the leaders, 1.6 as they start it. One small mistake from Matt Wood, and that will be all they wrote. And he's driven fantastically. This has been a well within the realms of what is capable style of drive, with Jorge Martinez just harassing and needling behind, not doing anything too out of the ordinary in terms of strategy here today. Wood's been pushing every which way to try and make this race a reality for him. And it's been one where, you know, if you look at this one through a crystal ball, Matt Wood was pretty much the odds-on favourite, but it's not been as easy as maybe he would have liked today. Martinez has given a really good race as they move up to the Vidal chicane for what is the final time here in week 11. And as they make their way through the Hyundai N-Curve, Matt Wood will put the power down and he will take the victory, not by much, but they don't ask you how, they ask you how many. And it's another important victory over the course of this season. It'll be a long wait for Kent Nielsen and that charge for third. Veek unable to get through against Adam Cohn, but the racing still not over. Dennis Branch did get the move done on Anthony Cat, and now Stephen Filipovic looking behind as Staneros tries to gain a place.
Yeah, there we go. Still a little bit of racing going on here for Thomas Veek. Not going to get it done. I don't think we're going to see any position changes from this point, Sperry.
Potentially, as they go through. Kent Nielsen will confirm the podium, and nobody quite close enough then to make a dive in the final stages of the race. It has been an all-important affair in that mid-pack where we've seen chops and changes. You could argue anyone in that top 11 had a chance of picking up a fourth place finish or less, and that was a very important scrap all the way towards the end. Let's get then some confirmation results then up on screen. An hour and 34 seconds worth of driving means that Matt Wood will pick up the victory here today, and he wins by just 0.9 of a second in the end over Jorge Martinez in second position. Kent Nielsen will round out the podium. He finishes third, but a full 44 seconds adrift from the leaders, which just shows you just how much of a class that those two have at the front, with Christophe Mons in fourth position. And Dennis Branch, what a great recovery, a spin and running off at turn number 1. Still managed to find a case then of it all playing out. So that was 5th position for him. Anthony Cat finishes off in 6th position, with Stephen Filipovic in 7th and Leopold Staneros back there in 8th place after qualifying in 3rd. John Pat Kelly gets 9th. Adam Cohn managing to hold on in the Leighton House for a top 10. Thomas Veek's late spin dropped him all the way back down to 11th, with Masafumi Abarame pretty much out of the running after his spin. And Jan Stratinsky, the last finisher on the leading lap, in 13th. With Marco Pereira really struggling with tyre wear in his stint. He had 3% of the tyre left in the first stint, finished the race with over half the tyre left in the second, but he was a lap down in 14th, with Philip Urquhart and Ben Goyette, and the only retiree from the race, Emilio Fernandez, right in front of the leaders, and a slightly stronger hit. Who knows what could have happened at that point in time. But that pretty much is going to wrap things up this week for us here at SimSpeed TV. But it is not the end of this championship, not at all. There is still, of course, one more race on the horizon. And Fonty, it's a great track to end a season on. It's the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh, yes, certainly is. One of my favourites. And, yeah, circuit that I've managed to go and watch the Spa 24-hour at. Yeah, probably the greatest facility that I've ever been to in this world. And it's absolutely amazing for all forms of racing, real life, and especially on the sim. I expect these guys, the fields to be full, and these guys will be racing hard next week. Who's going to take it out between Jorge Martinez, or are we going to have someone else turn up and take it to these guys?
Who knows? The final week of the season always has surprises and always has shocks, and the only place you can catch that is with us at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance to already, like, share, and subscribe to bring you more amazing content brought to you by us here and the team. Massive thanks goes to the iRacing Open Wheel community who helped out so much in terms of getting the broadcast over to us. But on top of that, from, of course, Scott Fountain, who's been alongside me, myself, Jake Sperry, the Virtual Racing School, who are our replay sponsors here at SimSpeed TV. Matt Wood, once again, has proven that he is infallible. He is incredible. He is able to drive in such a way that gives him room to maneuver late in races. Martinez gave him a real race today. He pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. Never got close enough, though, to make any real dent, any real overtake. And that's just a mark of how Matt Wood is a race manager and very much like TB12 at Tampa Bay. We'll see you, though, for the final round 1 week from today. And it'll be same time, same place. Spa-Francorchamps ends the season.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?